I'm looking here on the website, contemporarycakes.com.au, and this 9-tier wedding cake,
Yes.
that was for a wedding at Customs House.
Yes, that was for the lovely couple, Keisha and Nathan.
It's massive.
It was fabulous.
How long did that take you?
Wow, 2 weeks all up almost. Yeah, it had a massive cascade of flowers on top, but it's so tall you can hardly see them, and as an arrangement on the bottom. Nathan actually works for a local real estate agent, and we actually met him a couple of years ago, and we just started chatting, and I said, oh, actually I've got a studio in Daisy Hill, and he actually works in Daisy Hill, and so anyway, him and his girlfriend, fiance, rang us up, and Nathan said, wow, I really want a wow cake, and I said, Nathan, we can make a wow cake.
So that was it. That was your synopsis. Make us a wow cake, and then you decided what to do, or do people tell you we'd like this and so on?
Yeah, so Keisha bought a sample of her wedding gown in. And she said, I really like a lace effect. And I said, well, Keisha, if you give me a sample of your gown or a photo, I can work and see what's similar to that. And she also had little pipe diamantes on her dress. Now, Nathan didn't want it too overly girly. There was some input, which is lovely.
Which is, as it should be. If it's a marriage, it has to be. Yeah.
Well, it's only later, guys, that it all changes, by the way. My husband's listening to this now. Yeah. But, so I kind of still did a bit of quilting. I did some straight lines of icing, but it was beautiful. And we actually had people coming and taking photos as I assembled it. And there's actually a video on the website of me putting it together. Okay. And it's speeded up.
Yeah, but do you get nervous? I mean, that is a massive cake.
No.
Do you get nervous that someone is going to drop it at the last minute? When you see in movies, someone trips over and head first or something like that?
Well, my naughty son a couple of years ago showed me this terrible channel on YouTube, and it's called Cake Disasters, and it shows you all these tables that collapsing as the brides are cutting the cake, and cake sliding out the back of the trucks as they open the doors. But I've done this so long now, I've kind of really override any potential problems. My husband and son carried the base forward.
I'm with Jackie Thompson from Contemporary Cakes and Classes. That website, again, is contemporarycakes.com.au. Tells you all about the classes you can do. The picture gallery. It looks a lovely little studio. Is that what we'd call it, Jackie?
Cake studio.
Yeah, and cakes everywhere. And as I mentioned, my wife might have inhaled all the macaroons last week, but she shan't be getting into these gingerbread houses because they'll be gone by the time we leave this afternoon. And sadly, being celiac, she wouldn't be able to have them anyway, would she? No, so bad luck. She misses out. Christmas cakes. Dominic Rizzo, who's our chef, will be on after 2. Dom knows that I don't eat cooked fruit, so I don't eat fruit cake or Christmas cakes. I've never had Christmas cakes. I do, but I don't like them. No. I would have the custard just with ice cream. But my grandmother was the big Christmas cake maker, and she'd make it weeks in advance in a big metal, bowl pot, the big pot with the Hessian bag and all that sort of stuff. How do you make yours?
Normally,
excuse me if I'm eating while you're talking.
That's okay. Munch away. Normally I make a fruitcake 3 months out before it's required. And then what I normally do is I actually measure all my fruit. And so with my recipe, I can actually adapt it. So if the client doesn't want currants or sultanas or doesn't want mixed peel, I'll actually just weigh out all the dried fruit. And then what I actually do is I use orange zest, and I use orange juice, black treacle, and I put all my spices in the fruit, and then I mix it all up with a splodge of brandy, and then I let it all plump up. So the fruit takes on all those beautiful spices, takes all that black treacle, all the lovely brandy, and then after 2 to 3 days, after the fruit's got a little bit pickled, I then cream my butter and my brown. I always use dark brown sugar as well. That creates a nice intense flavour to the actual fruit cake, and it creates a really dark, rich cake. And then I fold in all my lovely marinated fruit, and then I fold in the flour, add the eggs, and then I line a cake tin. And I actually use an old piece of the old parcel paper wrapped around. In olden days, I used to use newspapers, but we don't buy newspapers now. And I actually put a nice high tall collar around them, and then I bake them on a very low slow oven, normally about 140, 150, for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the cake. Now, some people often bake cakes and they find they overcook or overcolour quickly. The best thing I recommend is getting an oven thermometer first of all to check your temperature is working right. So pop the oven thermometer in, and if you're baking on 150, select a dial for 150. And if your thermometer's coming out at 160, you've got a hotter oven, so you drop your temperature down. Obviously, if it's not high enough, you can bring it up. Another thing is a little oven-proof dish called a ramekin. You can fill it with some cold water and place it on your shelf in the oven at the same time. And what that does, it creates a beautiful, moist vapour environment for your cake.
Like a sauna.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it stops the top of the cake from over-crusting.
Okay.
And so that's a good way. Often ovens, though, are a little bit unpredictable. So that's why that oven thermometer will key whether you're using the right temperature.
They often say, going back to cricket, we've just seen the finish. The cricket pitch is like preparing your cake. You put all the ingredients in, but once you put it in the oven, you're not exactly sure how it's going to come out.
Well,
are you ever, is that nervous time when you're cutting into a cake, so you just know I've done it right, it's going to be right?
Well, with our fruit cakes, they don't really tend to rise too much. I actually use a cake tester, which is just a metal tester, not a wooden skewer, because that can actually be a bit misleading. And after the set time, and I've actually just got a chart for how long to cook each cake, then I'll take it out to the oven and I'll put my skewer in and I'll leave it in there for a few seconds in the centre. And then I'll take it out. And if it's still got something clinging onto it, then I'll pop it in again for about 10 to 15 more minutes. And really, I don't really cross my fingers because
you're better off taking it a little bit early to do that rather than leaving it in a few minutes too long?
Yes and no. With a fruit cake, it doesn't really matter. But with a mud cake, we mustn't do any sneak peeking because a mud cake will...
So it depends on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Different ways of baking. With a mud cake, we mustn't sneak peek and open the oven because all the gases and the heat will drop and then your cake will become uncooked.
Okay. Do the family expect perfection every time you make for them now? Are they really critical if Mum, this is not up to scratch, or
no?
Or are you in charge? You say if you don't like it, don't eat it.
Well, that's it, and I always that's exactly it. My son, he's funny. When he was little, if I'd be decorating a cake, I'd be working hours on a Pokemon cake or Pikachu. He'd come in from school, and then Matt would come in, my hubby as well, and Matt wouldn't say anything, but Adam would go, "Mum, that eye's bigger than the other," because Matt's obviously playing it safe, but Adam doesn't care,
Good on you. Excellent. Well, Contemporary Cakes and Classes, the website is contemporarycakes.com.au, and there you do have gift vouchers that people can get to do some courses. If you love your baking and want to learn more, they can go to the website and get some gift vouchers. You mentioned the book there, Contemporary Cake Design, book 1, I noticed.
Yes, book 1. Well, I'm quite excited because my book's also available now as an ebook. So,
excellent.
Yeah, so it took a little bit because it's such a big book. It's 250 pages. And
wow.
We had to, lots of photographs as well, which was important. So
the photos on the website here are sensational. So I really appreciate you coming in, bringing your gingerbread house in and your gingerbread Christmas trees. And I wish you the very best for Christmas, Jackie. And thank you for Christmas trees. And I wish you the very best for Christmas, Jackie. And thank you for